Hello everybody, my name is Karl Sandoval, and I want to do a short video on the neck construction. This would be for the Star Guitar, a continuing video series of a custom Sandoval Star Guitar that we're building. So what I want to talk about today would be how I went about getting my neck blank together. Now what I have here is I actually got some of my neck blanks. Here's 4 of them, and what I did was I took 4 1-inch. See if I can draw. I'll just draw a line here to simulate the thickness of the hard rock maple that I use. So let me just. We've got one there. Okay. So, let me bring this close to the camera so you can see. There's 2 lines, one right here and one right here. So basically we've got 1, 2, 3 1-inch blanks that I'd glued together this way. And if I turned so make sure I get this in the camera. So bottom line, I would end up with a large block of wood that would be from here to here, and just picture the wooden blocks coming out to here. This was all basically a long rectangular piece of wood blank, and then of course right here you can see that that was part of the massive wood block. So what I would do is, after laminating the 3 pieces, 3 1-inch maple stock blanks together, I would turn it over on edge, and I would draw this straight edge happens to be 1 inch in width. So I would draw one line, and another one, and then of course one more. So that would give me 4 necks off of this big blank. And then the angle, the pitch that we're going to use, I've got this special tool that I use, and it's showing me $8 degrees. This is a really unique tool, and it pretty much, I can set using either this part of the template or this part of the measuring template, and I can get a variety of degrees. And there's a little pinnacle point here that shows me what degree I'm at. So this is 50 degrees right here. Well, it shows 2 numbers actually. One is 50 and one is 30. So perhaps this is 50, and then this one is 130. Or it could be vice versa. But anyway, it gives you the angle that you need. And for this type of a guitar, if I check the measurement that I have here, you know, these angles can vary. Like I say, this one is measuring, there's 10, so it's measuring 2 below that, which is 8, so it's 8 degrees. You know, 6, 7, 8 degrees, it'll work. If you know, it just depends on what look you're going for. So once I set this angle, I'll go ahead and I'll make my 3 lines here, and therefore you get the angle that you see on this blank. And so I'll take it on my large bandsaw and I'll cut down the line. And actually what I do is I'll draw two lines. I'll draw the 1 inch mark and then give me about a 1/16 of an inch, just the width of the bandsaw blade. And I cut in between the two lines. So it's actually two lines. Two here, etc. all the way across. And so I end up with these blanks as you see here. So the type of glue that I use is just a tight bond glue, and I use multiple clamps. So when I'm gluing these blanks together, like I say, there'll be 1, 2, 3. I use. Now, what happens when you get two pieces of wood and they're smooth and you put glue in between? They're going to have a tendency to slide and move around. So what I'll do to eliminate that, so if I have 1, 2, 3, if it's turned over this way, I'll actually put, let's see, let me get this right here. Okay, these 1 inch blanks could shift back and forth like this, making it difficult. So I need to keep them together. And what I'll do is I'll put a block of wood here and a block of wood here, and I'll put a clamp, and that'll keep everything from slipping and sliding. So once that's done, then I put a series of clamps like every 4 inches on the block on one side, and then I do it on the other side. And like I said, I put 2 blocks, one here and one there on the bottom, and then same on this side. That'll keep everything from sliding. And I let it dry, before I do all my woodwork and milling. And so I end up with, blanks. And as you can see, the next procedure that I do, once these are rough cut, there's a rough cut look right there. You can see the bandsaw marks on it. And so what I do on the side that takes the fingerboard, I run it through a joiner. And basically, if this was my joiner table, I'll run the piece of wood using let me get hold on 1 second. I'll be right there. This is a push guide that I make, and it's got a little indentation right here. This is flat, and what it does is it catches my wood in the back, so I've got something to push on, and I very carefully touch. You always want to put pressure down on your joiner, and I slide the piece of wood like so across the 6 inch, 8 inch, whatever blade you have with, and I'll do that several passes, and it'll give me the smooth surface for the fingerboard here. And then on the headstock, I'll do the same thing where I'll run it through like this, being very careful and moving slow and letting the blade cut, and you don't want to slip or slide off. So I'm pushing here. This is just pressing down, and I'll run it through the planer like so. And so I'll end up with 2 flat surfaces. Now, if you've cut one of these surfaces at a weird angle, this line here, which would be the nut line, is going to be crooked. It could be like that, or it could be like this. And so you have to compensate on your joiner and cut more off of one side to get these pretty even. This one came out pretty even. So that's a brief explanation. On my Patreon page, I'll actually show more accurate instructions on how I run these through my joiner. So the next step that I do is I get a right angle, and where the angle going down begins, I run a line across like this. So I run a line here. And then the nut width that I use should be 3/16. So from the angle going down, we have one line here, and then I come back 3/16 of an inch, and I draw my second line, and there's our nut width. And then what I do is I draw a center line. There's a center line right here, which is basically, now these are pretty much parallel. So what I do is I just split the difference, and whatever the halfway point is from here to here, from here to here, I make a center line all the way down, and you can see it'll match pretty much the thickness. As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be right in the middle of this 1-inch piece that's in the middle. One good thing about laminate necks like this, we've got 2 lamb lines here. And so that makes the neck pretty, excuse me, pretty strong anytime you glue. And then if you notice, let me show you something here. Let's see if we can get a close-up. There we go. If you look real close, you can see the grain is running down. They call this quarter sawn. So that makes this neck even more rigid from flexing, you know, making a U this way as you put string tension on. Slap cut is when these, if I glue these 3 blanks together, that they're running horizontal. So horizontal is slap cut, vertical is quarter sawn, and that's what these 3 have. I try to do that, but it doesn't always come out that way. I might have some that are a little at an angle, you know, the grain is at an angle, or some might even be slap cut. But bottom line is, when you laminate 3 pieces of maple like this, you end up with something very rigid and strong. So here's the, there are the 2 lines for the nut, and this is our center line here. So we've got 3 pieces glued. We've got the fingerboard flat surface flattened. It's been jointed with a joiner, as well as the face of the headstock. It still needs some work down the line, but basically it's there. Then we drew the 2 lines for the nut, which is a 3/16 of an inch dimension, and then we start where the angle goes down. That's where the first line is. Whoop, sorry about that, right here. Then the second line is 3/16 of an inch back, and this is centered. So at that point, I have a special jig set up, and I use a 1/4 inch router bit, and I route the truss rod slot. And it's approximately, let me take a measurement here. It's approximate 3/8 depth that this slot is routed down to, and it accommodates the 2-way adjustable truss rod. And so, you know, I set up jigs on my overarm router, like a flat back guide, and I actually have to, being that we've got an angle here now, what I have to do is elevate the neck, because I can't lie it flat. This is pitching downward, so I have to elevate the neck to where it's level with the table, and more importantly, the actual bit. That way I get a true depth route of 3/8 of an inch all the way down. Now this neck blank is actually longer than what I need, and I've done that for a reason. Same with the face of the headstock. It's longer than what I really need. And then I cut off my access, or my excess there. So approximately, you know, to accommodate whatever fret you go with, a fret amount, okay, like if it's 21, 22, or 24 frets with a little, maybe a 1/4 of an inch hang off here in the back, then I'll make my cut. So that, this line that's cut here varies based on the amount of frets you're going to have on your guitar, you know, which is basically in tune with your scaling. So that pretty much is what I do to get to this point here, which from here I put in the truss rod, and I have my nut on this end, on this design, and or you can run it on the front, which would take a truss rod cover, and I get the Allen wrenches to adjust the truss rod, which looks like this, and but you can use, it could be a slot, it could be a cross, it could even be a hex nut used for the end of the truss rod. So what I'm waiting for is I ordered some fingerboards. I'll get the fingerboard in and we'll glue. I'll show you how I size the fretboard with the scale of the guitar, and insert the truss rod and glue on the fingerboard and get it aligned. And that'll be on another video. But I just wanted to give you a short video on how I prep the neck blanks. And this would be a neck blank for the Sandoval Star Guitar. And that'll do it. You can find your hard rock maple online or go to your local wood supplier. I have no idea what your prices are going to be. You know, wood's been kind of scary lately as far as its pricing. So, you know, just do your best. If you've haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel and you're a new viewer, welcome and thank you so much. Please, by all means, subscribe. I have a Patreon page which will be more specific and detailed filming and videos of what I do. So subscribe to my Patreon page. That'll help support what I do. You can check me out on Instagram. You can check me out on my website and also on Facebook. So I appreciate your viewing of my videos, and please watch them all the way through. There's a lot of points that I give throughout the videos, so if you just kind of check out the beginning and find it being a little out of your interest, well, just be patient, and chances are you'll hit on something either in the middle or at the end, which is valuable information regarding the fabrication of custom guitars or repairing. If you feel inclined to make a donation, you can do so through my PayPal page. Use my email. That's Karl@karlsandoval.com. I spell my name with the letter K. With that being said, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I hope this helped you understand a little bit about how I prep my necks for my custom guitars. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.